The glass slipped from her hand and shattered against the office floor, the sound slicing through the silence like something breaking inside both of them at once. She was standing too close, far too close, her breath uneven, her eyes not quite focused, her power suit slightly undone as if the night had unraveled her control piece by piece. And then, without warning, she leaned in, her lips inches away from his. He didn't move, not because he didn't feel it, but because he felt it too much. If you believe every story hides a lesson, take a second right now, like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who feels deeply, and subscribe to Humanity Stories, because some stories don't just entertain, they stay with you. The city outside the floor-to-ceiling windows glittered like 1,000 distant lives, each one moving forward, unaware that in this quiet office on the 27th floor, two people stood on the edge of something neither of them had planned. He had stayed late again. He always did, not because the work demanded it, but because going home early meant facing the silence too soon. A small apartment, a child's half-finished drawings taped to the fridge, a bed that still felt too big for one person. Single fatherhood had taught him how to survive, but not how to stop missing what he lost. She had noticed that about him long ago. She noticed everything. That was the thing about her. People called her cold, untouchable, sharp as glass, but they never realized how closely she watched the people around her. Especially him. Especially the way he never complained, never asked for help, never stayed for office parties, always leaving exactly on time when his child needed him, like nothing else in the world mattered. Except tonight, he stayed. And she drank. One glass turned into two, then three, until the woman who built empires with a single decision was now struggling to steady herself against her own desk. He should have left. He knew that. But something about seeing her like this, unguarded, human, almost fragile, kept him rooted in place. When she walked toward him, there was no authority left in her steps. Just something heavier, lonelier. And then she reached for him. Her fingers brushed his shirt first, hesitating, like even in her state she was asking for permission she didn't know how to say out loud. Her eyes searched his face, not as a boss looking at an employee, but as a woman who had spent too many nights pretending she didn't feel anything at all. That's when she leaned in. That's when time stopped. And that's when he gently caught her wrist. Not harshly. Not rejecting her. Just stopping the moment from becoming something it wasn't meant to be. His voice, when it came, was quiet. Steady. But it carried something deeper than hesitation. If you were sober, I'd make the first move. The words hung between them, fragile and heavy at the same time. For a second, she didn't understand. Then something in her expression changed. The haze in her eyes cracked, just enough for reality to slip through. Not fully, but enough to feel it. Enough to feel him. He stepped back slowly, putting space between them, not because he didn't want her, but because he did, and that scared him more than anything. He wasn't a man who chased moments. He was a man who protected them. And this mattered too much to ruin. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was full, like something had been said that didn't need repeating. He picked up his jacket, his movements calm, almost careful, as if any sudden shift might break whatever fragile understanding had just formed between them. At the door, he paused. Not turning around, not saying anything else. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can give someone, is the space to come back to you on their own. The next morning felt colder than usual. The office buzzed with its normal rhythm, phones ringing, keyboards clicking, quiet conversations blending into the background, but something had shifted, even if no one else could see it. She arrived early. Earlier than anyone. Her reflection in the glass walls looked composed again. Perfect. Controlled. Like nothing had happened. But her eyes, they held something new. Something unsettled. She remembered everything. Not just what she did, but what he didn't do. And somehow, that stayed with her more. All day, they didn't speak. Not in private. Not in passing. Just brief, professional exchanges that carried an unspoken weight beneath them, like both were walking around something fragile, waiting for the right moment to face it. That moment came when the office emptied again. The same quiet. The same city lights. But this time, no alcohol. No blurred edges. Just truth. She stood by the window, arms folded, gathering courage in silence. He approached slowly, not intruding, not rushing. And when she finally turned to face him, there was no mask left. No title. No distance. Just a woman asking a question she didn't know how to say. He didn't wait this time. He stepped closer. Carefully. Deliberately. And this time, there was no hesitation. No confusion. No escape. Just a quiet, certain moment where two lonely worlds finally stopped orbiting each other, and collided. If this story made you feel something real, don't scroll away. Like the video, share your thoughts, and let it reach someone who might need to feel this too.